Whee! Christ, wow, that is crazy. This is a hooligan's drone. I'm just not used to that sort of speed and the climbing. So here it is, still unflown thanks to the relentless rain and wind outside, and I'm stuck inside, twiddling my thumbs, wondering why. I've paid almost £1,400 for a full combo kit of a model drone that's got a camera sensor the same size as the Mini 3, but being well over 250 grams, has got way more restrictions on where you can fly. I do know there are some good reasons why I bought this drone though, so let's have a little look. Hello, I'm Ian and I play with drones, and yes, this week I took delivery of the new DJI Air 3, DJI's newest model that is their updated version of the older Air 2. It certainly can't be the updated version of the Air 2S because it's actually got a smaller sensor, which as you can probably tell is a real bugbear for me. The Air 2S had a 1-inch 20 genuine megapixel sensor, giving you 20 genuine megapixel stills and 5.4K video capabilities. New Air 3 has only got a 12 megapixel sensor with a quad Bayer overlay, producing still images of 48 effective megapixels resolution and only 4K video. So why did I even consider buying this model? And I bet there are many of you out there asking yourselves exactly the same questions. Anyway, look, before I go into that, let's actually have a look at what you get with the kit. As I said, this is the full combo for the RC2 version that I got. That means it comes with the new RC controller, which currently can only be used with the Air 3, and I'm hoping DJI get this sorted pretty soon because my older RC controller would work all the Mini 3 series, the Air 2S and the Mavic 3 series as well. Hopefully a firmware update away. You get the new style bag, slightly different from the previous style bags DJI gave you. You get 3 giant batteries, the charging hub, a huge bag of spare propellers. I don't know if they're expecting me to crash a lot, I don't know. And a USB-C charging cable. Of course, no charger, as is the norm this day, and I did do a video on how to get this thing charged the other day. I'll do a link. And of course, this, the drone itself. And the first thing that hit me when I got this out of the box is just how big and heavy it is. And that's probably because I have got very used to flying the Mini 3 Pro over the last year, more often perhaps than the Air 2S. The Air 3 is nearly 3 times the weight of the Mini 3 Pro. It's a full 720 grams or 1.5 pounds. That is 125 grams heavier than the Air 2S. And it's actually only 130 grams away from the big Mavic 3's weight. So this is a big drone indeed. And as I said, of course, that brings with it more restrictions on where you can fly. Only in wide open countryside, or if you've got the A2 CFC in the UK, then you can fly in more congested areas, but you've still got to stay 50 meters away from uninvolved people. So either way, it's got more restrictions. And this is probably one of the main points that you need to think on. Where do you normally fly? I've mentioned how the Mini 3 Pro had become my favorite model because of the freedom it gave me to fly almost anywhere. If this has got the same size sensor but has way more restrictions, then why would I buy it? Well, for starters, most of my drone flying is actually done in the open countryside when I'm away pretty much these days in the camper van. Wales, Scotland, Cornwall and the South Downs are all favourite flying areas for me. And the new Air 3 does have a fair few new features that should make things way better for me when flying. So, having got my biggest gripes out of the way, let's take a look at why I chose to buy this, because there are actually a load of very good reasons, I think. First off, most obvious. Second camera. Same size sensor, but with a 70mm focal length, giving the equivalent of 3 times optical zoom. And I do have high hopes for this. I film in wild, rugged locations a lot, and this should be good at bringing in some zoom and compression shots to me where I can bring the background of shots right into play with the subject that I'm filming. So hopefully I've got a good bit of fun ahead with that. And let's be clear, I was happy enough to use the Mini 3 Pro for most of the time over the last year or so. These two sensors are exactly the same size. So yes, smaller sensor, but it's been the same size as the one I've been using most of the time for the last year. I guess I should stop complaining about it and get on with some of the good features. And really, there are a lot of good features. I said it's heavier. Yeah, that's mainly due to this. The huge new, if I can get it out, a bit stiff. There we go. Huge new big battery, which gives a spec flight time of 46 minutes, which is up there with the Plus battery of the Mini 3 Pro. In reality, I guess I'm only expecting probably around 37, 38 minutes, to be honest, but that is a huge improvement. And it's also got the massive benefit of being able to be recharged by USB-C. And if you watched my charging video the other day, you will know how important that is to me. I love to make sure I've got fully charged batteries, however many flights I'm doing during the day. So USB-C charging is a massive, massive improvement for me. Charging Hub itself has actually got a new feature where it can transfer the power from the least charged batteries into the most charged battery, literally sucking the last power out of the two emptiest batteries to give you one near or fully charged battery. And this, I think, is a brilliant, brilliant feature. All too often I hit 3 half-charged batteries by mid-afternoon. This is going to give me the ability to have one more fully charged battery to play with each time. So brilliant, brilliant new feature. And of course, bigger batteries also provide more power, and the Air 3 is faster with a top speed of 47 miles per hour or 21 meters per second. One point to note though, that this top speed is geo-restricted to 19 meters per second in the EU regions, and that is going to be to ensure conformity with a little C1 classification label that the Air 3 sports. This allows it to be flown in more congested areas in Europe, but alas, the UK CAA have abandoned the C classifications for flying in the UK, and whilst they ponder on a new way of classifying or restricting us, we are stuck with either sub 250 gram freedoms or relegation to open countryside, unless you've got the A2 CFC, in which case you're still kind of relegated to less busy areas. But look, either way, we have got no C1 requirements to comply with here in the UK, so we should get the top speed of 21 meters per second. Now, faster speed and more power also gives this a higher wind rating. All of you know how much I love a good, strong wind test. And as I said, I do a lot of flying up in the mountains or in exposed coastal areas where it is always very, very windy. Now, fair play, the Mini 3 Pro handled the wind absolutely exceptionally well for a little drone of its size. But can't be argued, the Air 3 has got a much higher wind rating. It's actually got one of the best wind ratings now of any DJI consumer drone, and therefore it should perform even better in strong winds. And that is another feature I'm looking to make full use of when flying this little beast. And of course, that extra power has given it something a bit unexpected. It's now the fastest climbing and descending drone in the DJI range at 10 meters per second. That is 100 meters high in just 10 seconds. And again, that should be good fun. That should bring some brilliant big reveal shots up in the mountains and in the open countryside. So again, that is a feature I'm really looking forward to making use of. And of course, obstacle avoidance. These little guys pointing in different directions, they now work in all directions. And I think most of you will have seen the fun I have had flying sideways with the Mini 3 Pro, and the Air 2S was no different, no sideways obstacle avoidance. Sideways flying is one of my favourite shots to film, so this is definitely a great addition, and I am seriously hoping no more flying sideways into trees for me. The remote is interesting. A lot of people mentioned the issues that they had with the RC remote. The old RC remote had internal antennae. In truth, I only had issues when I was kind of flying near trees, but that said, this new model, RC2, sports 2 little external antennas as well and uses OcuSync 4, DJI's newest transmission system. The specs give this a frankly insane range of 20 kilometers or 12 miles. And even in the CE regions, the specs are stating 10 kilometers or 6 miles, which is way beyond what's legal in most countries. But again, it should be giving us rock steady signal for everyday flying and crystal clear video feeds in full 1080 high definition. So again, big improvement. My big gripe, as I said, is the new remote is not yet compatible with any other model drone, whilst the RC, as I said, could control Mini 3 and Air 2S and the Mavic 3 series. But I'm hoping a quick firmware update from DJI in the next week or month will get that sorted. Leaving that aside, the Air 3 does have pretty much all the intelligent flight features found on the more expensive Mavic 3 series, which includes an active track that lets you input relative position of the drone when it's following you. Also includes full waypoints, allowing you to pre-configure a flight in advance, and that can be repeated over and over again, either at different times of the year or for whatever reason you have. It was a feature we lost with the Air 2S and the Mini 3 series, so it is great to have waypoints back again. And another feature that's new to this range is cruise control, where you can set the drone to fly off in the same speed and the same direction, letting you focus on the gimbal and filming the camera. And this is often one of the most complicated things I think about flying drones and filming. You've got to fly, you've got to control the drone, and you've got to control the camera at the same time. So I am really, really looking forward to trying out the new cruise control features. So there we go. One step back, but two steps forward, or 2 steps forwards, 1 step back, I don't know. But that is my opinion, if you like, of this drone. Lots and lots to look forward to in the next few weeks, and I really am hoping that the weather improves later today or tomorrow so I can get out flying, because I want to have a lot of fun with this new drone. Anyway, here's hoping. Let's see what happens. New day, new weather, sun at last. So I have updated all the firmware, charged up the batteries, learned how to take the batteries out of the charging hub with a little release at the back, and I'm absolutely ready for the very first flight. I haven't flown it yet. Let's get it all switched on, usual way. Firmware update took about 20 minutes, and there was quite a long period where this controller just literally sat there with DJI on with a white screen. Well over 5 minutes. I thought it had bricked itself, but it hadn't. It was still doing its update. Now it is ready to go. Let's just turn on the screen recording for us. So there we go. No GPS yet.
Approached edge of altitude zone.
Oh, there we go. I have a 500-meter altitude zone. I don't think I'll be going that high. Let's just make sure we get all the good GPS. So what are we on now? 8 satellites. I've got a big tree near me here.
Home point updated.
Very loud lady voice there. 13 satellites. So saying home point updated. Don't know. I'm going to see if it's going to do any more satellites before I take off. My Mini 3 Pro did crash into the tree, and it had about 14-15 satellites on. Okay, we're on 16 satellites, so I'm happy that's quite a good go. So let's see what it sounds like. Just turn down the volume a little bit. It's going to get annoying. There we go. Very nice deep sound, certainly a lot deeper than the Mini 3 Pro. To me, quite loud, but then I suppose it's got quite a lot of weight to take up. Just a few settings I should have gone through just to make sure. So obstacle avoidance, I always have set to brake. Bypass was a little bit flitchy on the Mavic 3, and so it is on here as well. If you just touch the stick, it flicks quite a bit. Seems very jumpy. So yeah, bypass is not going to be your friend, I don't think. I would definitely leave it into brake. Now, see how more gentle. I was actually reading one of the comments in my videos the other day. He sent his drone back because he thought it was faulty because it was so flighty. I asked whether it was in bypass mode, and it was. And I think this is probably why he was unhappy with it. So you can see here a flick of the, hardly moves, very gentle. Right, a few other settings you just want to make sure. First of all, under safety, you want to have a maximum height of, well, auto return to home altitude. I was leaving on about 50 meters. I haven't got any trees higher than that. Let's have a look. What else have we got? Max altitude, 120 meters, 400 feet. That's the legal maximum. That is about it, really, on there. Just check, yeah, the default when signal lost, automatic return to home. That's absolutely the one that I want. I do a song like that. Control, right, okay. Europe, Britain, metric, there we go. Subject scanning, I do find useful actually. Subject scanning, that means if it sees a person, it'll actually offer you the little green box so that you can actually start the active track and the like. So I actually like to have subject scanning on. I'm sure it uses a little bit more battery, but there we go. Gain and expo fine tuning. I've done a whole video on gain and expo fine tuning. I'm not going to go through it now. Suffice to say that I don't want to reduce the max horizontal speed or the max ascent speed. So in sports mode, there we go, look at that, 10 meters per second max ascent speed in sports mode, and descent speed, fastest ascent and descent of any drone that DJI do now, so very, very good. Max angular velocity, right, let's just stick to what we're doing. Normal mode, max angular velocity, how quickly it's turning. I need that down. I want the yaw smoothness, I want that quite high. Brake sensitivity, personally, I think you should have maximum brakes when you let go of the stick. Again, I did another video on brake sensitivity and the significance of knocking the brake sensitivity down. It'll just keep on sailing, and that's not a situation I want to be in. Expo I'm not going to worry about now. I think we're pretty much there actually. So the last thing I'm going to do, camera, I want JPEG plus RAW. I do like my 16:9. I know it's only cropping. Resolution 12 megs or 48 megs. Now I'll do another video on the differences between 12 or 48. Yeah, okay, leave the rest all on. Peaking level, I've done a little video on that as well. Peaking level, focus peaking, always useful to have a little red tinge just to make sure you're in focus. Don't need the zebra stripes of overexposure. It's onto SD card, and I think for now we are good to go. Right, okay, so without further ado, let's continue and put it through its first proper flight. So I'm going to have to go up into the air in a bit different part of the garden here. Let's just put it there. I'm going to bring the camera around so you can see me whilst I'm flying out over the... And without further ado, off we go. So normal mode is going to be rising up at 6 meters per second, nice and fast. May want to have another little look at the 10 meter per second. That's going to be quite fun. Let's just have a quick look now. Let's have a play with some of the options. So straight up, first thing I have to do, of course, is try out the new zoom. So you can see here, you've got the little soft buttons on the left of the record button, 1 times or 3 times. So let's do that. There we go. Okay. Let's focus on something specific. A pylon in the distance there, so I'm going to take a photo of that. Then I'll go back to 1 time zoom. Okay, obviously I'll have to look at those pictures on the big screen. Yeah, going to be quite good. Very, very flat in this part of North Rural Essex where I am flying at the moment, and therefore I'm not really going to have much opportunity to do any surround shots, but I am heading down to the South Downs later this week. So I hope to get a little bit more fun making use of the zoom whilst I'm flying, try and get some of those compression shots, bringing the background in. Chuck it into sports mode for a little bit, have a bit of fun. I'll start recording video. Okay, there's one thing I need to check. 4K 60k, I don't need 60k 60 frames per second rather, so let's get it down to 25 frames per second. That's what I like to shoot in. 4K is good enough. Dip the... Alright, let's have a little fly. Thank you, Ted. And we'll start recording and off we go. So he is 200 meters away, quite a big blob in the sky to be honest. You can still hear the props occasionally, especially when you start moving. He's obviously louder than the Mini 3 Pro. Zoom along. That's quite nice, isn't it? There's a slight hill here, so I don't want to crash. Cool. Loud. Right. Nice, fast climb there. Loud. I thought I was flying the Avatar for a second there. Very whiny. Yeah, ultimately he's a much bigger, heavier drone, isn't he? He's got bigger props. He's going to make more noise. So here's the descent. I mean, it is funny. It's literally, it's like dropping like a stone. You can just see it, and then he's slowing down as he gets towards the ground and stops. But that does mean that you should be able to, let's just try a little bit of fun here. We've got the tractor lines in the corn. Let's just suddenly go up. Up it goes, look at that. That is crazy, and you get some nice effects there. There we are. Bang, 117 meters high. And that's actually another real funny thing, because I can see it, it's so much bigger. I'm so used to flying the Mini 3, I'm thinking that is not 100 meters high, but yes it is, according to that. And yet, when I look at it, it does not look 100 meters, 400 feet high. Just descend down again, I mean, that is just crazy fast. I don't think you're going to see it on the, well, you're definitely not going to. Let's just try and do that. It might come out, might not. Right, descend down. Bang, it almost looks like it's free falling. It's falling so fast. That is crazy. And then back up again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Bang. 12 seconds, max altitude reached. I mean, that really is 10 meters per second. That is incredible. So there's no doubt in my mind, you know, this is going to be brilliant when I'm flying around on windy terrains up in the mountains and the like. It's certainly got a lot of power up its sleeve. Let's, not much wind today, so let's just come back closer to the house. It's even backwards. Nice and fast. So this is in sports mode I'm doing at the moment. Let's see what top speed I can get up to. So I'm in sports mode. Let's just see, off we go, and just forward. Bang, he's off. 20 meters per second, 21 meters per second, bang. Right, the wind is coming round from behind ever so slightly. So this time when I'm flying back towards me, I'll actually be flying slightly into the wind. So it'd just be nice to see whether or not it gets up to, there you go, max throttle, 17, 18, 19, 20. So he's flying into the wind there. Let's really, Christ, wow, that is crazy. This is a hooligan's drone. I'm just not used to that sort of speed and the climbing. Yeah, okay, let's bring the boy in. I suppose we can stop recording now. Your own time. Okay, obviously doesn't like hand catching too much. I'm guessing that's the landing protection kicking in there, but my goodness me. Okay, so what are my first thoughts there? As you can tell, it's a bit of an exhilarating old flight. Fast, especially in sports mode. You are really climbing fast and descending fast, much faster than the 6 meters per second of the Mini 3 Pro, and even the Air 2S I think was only about 7 or possibly 8 meters per second, but either way, 10 meters per second does get you from ground to max literally in 12 seconds. It's very, very fast. You're flying in sports mode, you haven't got the obstacle avoidance, so you're going to have to watch out for those trees because it is going to move and going to be somewhere you didn't expect it to be very, very quickly. You know, solidly built. Obviously, this is my very first flight with that. I can't fault the build quality of it. You can see the huge gimbal there, just adjusting itself as I move it. I haven't tried the obstacle avoidance at all. I haven't really tried any of that. It's all fun to do over the next few weeks. Haven't tried the intelligent flight modes or the active track. All I wanted to do today was, cyclist. All I wanted to do today was get a feel for it and put it through its first flight. Now, you obviously saw my comments that I filmed yesterday. I will be combining this into one video, so you're going to get my first thoughts out of the box and my first thoughts on the first flight all in the same video. I did have my, not reservations, but let's say, you know, I'm still a bit miffed that they brought it out with a smaller sized sensor than the Air 2S. I guess they've got to hold a bit of differential in place for the Air 3S, which surely has to be coming in the next 6 months. Why else would they release something with such a small sensor? They also want to keep a bit of disparity, I guess, between this and the Mavic 3 series, which fundamentally, this has got pretty much all of the functions of the Mavic 3 series. It's got the build quality of the Mavic. It's a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter, but fundamentally, how else are they going to differentiate between the two unless they do that via a smaller sensor? But look, my first impressions are, I'm glad I bought it. I'm sure I'm going to have fun. Heading down to the South Downs this weekend, as I said, so I will be able to put it through its paces there. But yeah, happy with my first flight, and happy that I paid the cash to get this latest release from DJI. Anyway, look, hope this has helped some of you who are pondering whether or not to actually splash the cash and go out and get a drone that, you know, in many respects, as I said, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back in regards to the sensor versus the functionality. But anyway, for me, sound purchase, happy I've made it. As ever, if it's helped, give me a little thumbs up, help the video along. Till next time, wherever you are in the world, have fun, happy flying.